I'm with Paul Friederichsen. He heads Brand Biz, a branding and advertising agency, and always great talking with you and talking about branding and advertising.
Thank you, Dave.
As a matter of fact, but before I came out here, I was on LinkedIn, and I noticed you've got a bevy of articles on there.
You're right. Yeah, I like to write about it. Yeah, branding and marketing. Yeah,
That's
a lot of articles, but over 30 articles right now. So
I didn't count them, but
Yeah.
great titles.
Thank you.
I went through those. So anybody listening, you may want to check those out. I thought you were the perfect person to talk with about this subject that I want to talk about, and it's, I interview a lot of retailers, and I always get on their website before I interview them. And I've noticed...
Which is a good idea, by the way.
Yeah.
That's
well,
great,
and you can learn their basic approach.
Right.
And I find a lot of sites, not all of them by any means. There's some very, very good sites out there.
Right.
But there's a lot of sites that are poor. And I think the fact that there are 80, 90%, I don't know what the latest number is, but the number of people that begin their shopping campaign.
That's about right.
And so they will begin a shopping campaign online. They're going to shop for the product they want, and they're going to find a place to buy it.
Right.
Now, and I think some of them are woefully inadequate.
Right.
The other side of that is, it wasn't so many years ago, these same retailers spent a lot of money on the Yellow Pages. That was an important directional vehicle at that point. The second part of this equation was to find some place to spend your money. That was about the Yellow Pages.
It's a directory.
Yeah. They saw the need to spend that money, but now that Yellow Pages isn't that relevant anymore, they pocket that money. They don't spend it, realizing, however, they know that online marketing is important, but they don't seem to know or find a way to spend money on it. What do you think? I mean, it seems like to me, if somebody isn't on the internet with an attractive presentation, it's going to be unlikely that a customer is going to walk through their front door.
Right. Well, the bar has been raised
over
the last several years significantly, even just about websites themselves, not to mention all of the other avenues in order to reach the customer, whether it's social media or directory type sites like you're talking, to replace this.
Yeah. And there's lots of freebies that they can do to...
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, the bar's been raised significantly, and it's there's, I guess, probably not the best choice of words, but there's less tolerance now with most consumers for a poorly designed site or a site that's difficult to navigate. A lot of failure in websites for small businesses is that their content isn't current. And you can just tell. You can just look at the site. It's almost like going into an actual retail establishment and seeing dust covering everything on the shelves. I mean, it's just like the impression that gives you is not a good one. So, back to your point, if a site isn't well designed on the front end, if it's not content rich, and if it's not kept current, then you're defeating the whole purpose of being online to start with.
And you're really competing with not just other sites in the floor covering industry, but sites across the board. There are beautiful sites out there.
Yeah.
And
I mean, with all of the resources that there are nowadays, and it seems like every time you're watching television, you're seeing, advertising for, from some web service. I think I'm seeing a lot of spots now for a company called Wix. I mean, all the servers, all the web services will want to design your site for you. So a lot of these are template driven, like WordPress. The sophistication of these templates head and shoulders above where it was 10 years ago. I mean, it's amazing, you know, the animation that you can build into your site and so forth now that you couldn't possibly do on your own, you know, just 5 years ago maybe. So yeah, there's really very little excuse for not looking like you're coming to play.
Well,
So
I still get the idea that so many retailers I talk to, I get the idea that, okay, I've done the site, that's done, okay, I'm going
yeah,
to do
well, that's a
something
big
else.
mistake. Yeah.
And that was great the day they said that.
Right.
But a month later,
No,
6 months
exactly.
later, a year later, it doesn't get it.
No, that's right.
And I think you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
And it's a real problem.
Well, you know, the thing of it is, you know, in speaking to dealers, and as I have over the years about, you know, their online presence and digital advertising and things of that nature. I mean, it's tough to run a business and to take care of all the details that are necessary for that. You know, whether it's, you know, the retail side, the installation side, whatever. And then handle, you know, what you look like on the internet. You know, dealers just go, I don't have the time
It's
for
very
this.
tough,
It's hard.
but it's necessary.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't have a good website, the people that are shopping on the internet very likely are not going to find their way to your door.
Well, you know, it's the rhetorical question is, you know, well, if you don't have the time to do this, then you know, just how badly do you want the business? And that's kind of a cruel sort of. Well, it's just being realistic, I guess.
But it's
That's all.
true. Yeah, it's
it
true.
is. Let me point out, but something that's very, very true nowadays, versus you know, 10 years ago or whatever, and that is, it's not just the website, okay, that you have to have in order to grow your business and to reach your customer. That's just a starting point, I'm afraid. You've got to think of it as almost your base or your hub for your presence online, from which you build your social media presence and your directory presence and so forth, so that your customers, your potential customers, can find you. You know, it's a far more competitive environment than it was. It's a far more crowded environment than it was. There are a tyranny of incredible options that you're faced with. You know, do I go here? Do I put something here? My gosh, I don't. You know, where do I find the time to do this? And so on and so forth. But yet, business requires it. I mean, it's just. I mean, the retail side of the business, you pretty much have to jump in, roll up your sleeves, and get going with it. Now, that's why a lot of dealers, you know, hire help for that. You know, they bring someone in or they freelance it out. So the larger dealers, of course, have agencies that can help them with that. I've noticed in the last decade or so, a lot of specialists have sprouted up, even in small markets, that do nothing but this type of work for small companies and retailers.
Yeah. You know, it's also, and I want to talk about content, but in terms of individuals, it seems like how this is played out. I can recall 8-10 years ago, the kid down the street would do the website.
Right. And there's still kids doing it.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, on the high end of the age range, you're probably hitting about 30. So I mean, it's a young woman's profession.
Well, but I mean that they knew the mechanics
Right.
of getting a website up and putting graphics in and
Sure.
how do you put
Right.
copy in it.
Right.
But that's not the half of it.
No, that's true. That's really the technical side of the
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
You have to look at it from a strategic standpoint. And it gets back to some basic blocking and tackling in the marketing
It
side of the
really does.
business,
It really does.
which gets down to who you are as a brand, what is your position in the marketplace, and who is your customer? I mean, who really is your customer? Do you really know who that individual is and where you can find them? Now, obviously, we all know intuitively nowadays that, it's going to be a woman and a homeowner, and she spends a surprising amount of time on Facebook. I mean, that's the largest single demographic on Facebook now. It's not the kids per se, but it's her. That tells you right there that that's where she is spending a lot of her time. And if you're going to have any chance of reaching her, you're going to have to do it on her terms. And that doesn't say that, the traditional side of advertising, what we call traditional media, which is newspaper, radio, cable television, whatever, isn't valid. But I would say that if you're a retailer, you should seriously consider at least half of your budget going into digital. I mean, it's that big.
This is my own opinion, and I can't say that this is based in, a long drawn-out study of the numbers.
Right.
But I get the idea that yes, it's certainly good to be on Facebook and all the other social media.
Right.
I think that's almost a necessity anymore. But it seems like the root of that is you need a strong website that does several things.
Oh, yeah.
And it would seem like if you had a choice, do I do social media, do I do the website ought to win out that argument. Would you agree with that?
I would say foundationally, a strong website, which is a destination. You see, the thing of it is, if I'm in the market, and you sort of sketched it out when we first started talking, I'm in the market for flooring, okay? I'm ready to buy, okay? So I need to find out where I'm going to get that. What are my options locally? Now, that's why things like the old printed yellow pages is so archaic, because I can pick up my smartphone now, and if I have the new Google application on my smartphone, which just came out, with incredible voice recognition software, I can just say into my phone, find me, the nearest floor covering dealer. In less than a second or 2 seconds, up pops my list of options where within my current location, I can be out driving somewhere. It knows where I am, and it can tell me the closest ones to me. And then all I have to do is tap on that, and I get the entire picture of that dealership. Now, to your point, as far as that sales journey is concerned, if up pops something that looks like it was created and designed with a 15-year-old WordPress template, and it's just awful. I mean, it's just clunky looking. You're going.
I don't know if I want to put myself
my time is
in
too
the
valuable.
hands of this guy.
My time is too valuable. Yeah,
operation.
my time is very valuable. I only have so much time I can spend on this. So I'm going to bypass that guy, but I'm going to go to this other guy. So that's where the dividend of good design, good content, and so forth pay off.